Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
5:07 this Thursday morning. Thanks for tuning in to O'Connor and Company. Almost done with May. This is absolute insanity as we wrap things up in the merry month of May and head into June, and really it's summertime festivities. But of course, when President Trump is living in the White House, there are no summers, there are no vacations, there are no holidays, there are no breaks. It's full speed ahead. Coming up at 6:35, we're going to speak with Sarah Parshall-Perry of Defending Education, as they have now filed an IRS complaint against Thomas Jefferson High School right here in our backyard. 7:35 brings us Teresa Payton. She's a former White House Chief Information Officer. She now works for a cybersecurity organization. Talk about ChatGPT's latest AI model and some problems there. 8:05 brings us KT McFarland.
I'm on.
And then at 8:35, we'll speak with Tom Rousey of WJLA Channel 7. Talk about a brand new initiative for Tap Ride and Go in Metro. You just tap your card. Maybe tap your smartphone. That's gonna start. They've been pushing this back, but supposedly it starts today. That's all coming up. I'm Larry O'Connor. And look who's here. It's Mercedes Schlapp.
Tap Ride and Go.
Tap Ride and Go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do this. I mean,
that was the nickname of a.
What's next? They're going to put a chip in your brain, and then you'll be able to get on.
It's a.
What is it for the Metro?
It's
for the Metro.
Yeah, it's for the Metro. Tap Ride and Go.
No. I remember
I don't quite understand that. So it basically it means you don't have to buy a Metro card anymore. I have probably 15 Metro cards strewn about my house with various amounts of value on them. That, because that's what you like. You're in D.C. for a couple of days and you say, I'll just take the Metro. So you buy a Metro card and you don't use all the money on it. It's like, well, I'm not going to throw it away. That's money. And so you hang on to it. Or if the kids are in town, it's like, all right, everybody get your Metro card. And all the kids get a Metro card. And we don't use it again. And then it's just money. It's just sitting there. So now you can just use your...
You would think like they would have fixed this problem a long time ago. Just a really long time ago.
Yeah. Now
but you're right.
Pay.
I mean, I have found Metro cards in my bag. And I'm like, I don't think I'll ever use it. Or barely ever use it.
The problem is, I think, and this is what we're going to ask Tam Rousey about this, because I believe I saw in New York that they've now modified the Tap Pay and Go program that you can only use your smartphone to pay, and if you don't have
that's
set
the way.
up,
that's how they should go. But the only problem is
what if you don't have payments set up on your phone?
But they should have different options, right? They should have the smartphone option. The other thing is what if your battery's like dying or something?
Right. Or you lost your phone.
But why would you get on the Metro, on the subway in New York, which you might get burned to death, literally, or robbed, or
Well, I was about to say the subway in New York is not,
on.
but I haven't actually ridden the subway in New York in probably 10 years, so I shouldn't say that.
I haven't
no,
either. And the same thing,
worse.
I have to say, I haven't used the DC Metro in forever. Which I used to go on the DC Metro every day to go to work.
Yeah, I used to ride
to go
it
to
daily.
School. Yeah,
I think I just rode it recently. I'm trying to remember why. I can't remember why, but I did ride it recently.
We're so suburbia. Like, it's why, we live, you in Annapolis. I'm in
Actually, I remember why. It was Inauguration Week, the only way to get around downtown.
Oh, yeah.
Because all the roads were shut down, and it was freezing. Remember how cold it was the
So
weekend of
cold.
the inauguration? And so your choice was ride the Metro or freeze to death on the sidewalk. And because unless you were part of a motorcade coordinated by the Secret Service, you were not getting around downtown. And I had to go from the Yaff House, which was down by Heritage and Union Station, and then you got to go to a party over there, and you got a party over there. And the only way it was funny because the Metro was like all the downtown red line, from Federal Square down to Metro Center. It was all full of people in gowns and tuxedos.
I know.
Going
and
from
my whole
party
thing,
to
I was
party.
like, I was determined for Inauguration Week. I was like, I am wearing comfortable shoes. That was my big thing. Yeah. I think I wore like my most comfortable boots because it was freezing cold, and I was like, I am not wearing fancy heels. I'm not doing any of that.
You were
not
smart.
Happening.
I had Milano Blahniks. I was very, very uncomfortable.
Oh, whatever. I thought you would wear the ones with the red soles on the bottom. Those are more your type.
What are those? Those are the
Christian
I don't know.
It's
but
not
they are
Louis
very
Vuitton.
distinct.
It's
Louis Vuitton. They're
something.
very.
It's
they're
not
very,
Louis Vuitton.
Louboutin. It's Louboutin. It's
Louboutin.
It's very distinctive when a woman is wearing those shoes. It's
Yeah, I don't know what
there's
it
something
is.
very interesting psychologically about that. I actually like. I'll admit it because it's 5:12 in the morning, and who's listening? I actually am a big fan of women's shoes.
That sounds like it's a fetish. What do you mean women's shoes?
It's not a fetish. I just think when
you
a
mean women wearing high heels?
Well, yes, I don't want to wear the women's
Well,
shoes.
you have to
My
specify.
God, what
You're
are you
not being
thinking?
specified. Well, I'm just confirming because nowadays there's a bunch of wackos that like the men who like to wear.
Dressed beautifully and elegantly.
Yes,
and
of course.
with a great pair of shoes is quite, and then so you take notice of them, and then if she sits down or crosses her legs or turns and pivots, and suddenly you get a glimpse of that red sole, the red. Oh my Lord. Yeah. There is something about that little flash of red under the shoe that's.
I was wearing the red shoes and I was walking somewhere. It was in DC. I don't wear them. I usually wear like flats and then I'll bring the heels, right? Because
it's
I
like
too
that
much
move,
to walk.
by the way.
But
yeah.
I think I was actually going to the White House but I was like, okay, I got to put on my shoes because I got to get through the screening. And one of the Secret Service guys is like, you can't wear those shoes because, you ruined the red sole. You got to wear your flats. And I was literally like, why is the Secret Service guy engaging in, like, when I should wear my shoes? Like,
He's
literally, I was like, sir, I am just trying to get through security. I need to get to this event. It's like ridiculous. But he knew. He was like, you don't damage the red soles. You only wear them, like, when you get there, put them on, and then take them off. I was like,
so somehow we've moved from the tap
they're not
ride
even
and go
that comfortable.
program.
They're just not even that.
But
comfortable.
I don't think they're meant for comfort. I'll be honest with you.
No, they're not. They're not.
Yeah. So the new system for the Washington Metro Transit Authority,
that's great.
Which I got to be honest, this might actually. I would use Metro more often now because I have opted for Ubers most of the time when I'm downtown.
Which the prices have gone so high.
It's ridiculous.
So
it
expensive.
Is. And if I'm doing downtown, hopping here and hopping there, I used to ride the Metro like almost daily for actually commuting. But the whole plan is basically you can use your debit card, you can use your credit card, and you just tap the card because everybody's got the little RFID chip in their credit cards at this point. And your card will be charged directly as you go in and go out, so you don't need to do that extra intermediary step of buying a Metro card, and that will make it a little more efficient, I think, the entire process. Also, the machines, if you got to buy a Metro card, oftentimes you got to wait in line to get it. The machines don't always work. Yeah. They're a hassle to use too in terms of working out the monetary aspect. I mean, you get it eventually, but it is a problem. So it's great. I think it's actually very cool. The only problem is, how are they going to ensure that, there's no fraud here and that our credit card information isn't sort of being swiped up by the little machines, and then you're going to get identity theft and such. But I'm sure that they
identity theft. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully they can figure this thing out. I think it's a good innovation. I think it's what they needed to do. It's forget those little flimsy cards. But I thought they had these Metro cards ahead before. They didn't. Man,
we have Metro cards. No, what I'm saying is now you just use your credit card directly. There is no Metro card.
Credit card.
You don't have to buy the Metro card anymore.
Oh, that's the difference.
And then they say we encourage customers who use the system regularly to continue using Smart Trip cards and to register the card to easily access your account information. So you can still use your Smart Trip card, or you can just do this directly.
That's what I remember, the Smart Trip card.
Yeah. Also,
fine.
just take what they're advising you. I love the instructions. Take one card to tap at the fare gate. Do not tap your wallet with multiple cards or a physical wallet on the back of a phone with a virtual credit card, as it may charge both cards. Oh, great.
This sounds like it's a disaster waiting to happen, but we'll learn more about that later on.
Can you imagine?
At 8:35.
If you use your wallet and it's like you have a stack of like 4 credit cards, and it just charges.
It charges
all of them
you like for all the cards. For all the trips.
We will ask Tom Rousey at ABC7, who is all over this story, coming up at 8:35. In the meantime, if you're commuting in, you can try it out today. You tap, ride, go, and make sure you're wearing your sexy Italian red-soled pumps.
Exactly.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday made an announcement having to do with international visas in the United States. This one a little different than the previous announcements with regard to Harvard and with regard to additional vetting for new student visas. This one has to do with current student visas held by any student in the country with ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Rubio said, under President Trump's leadership, the U.S. State Department will work with the Department of Homeland Security to aggressively revoke visas for Chinese students, including those with connections to the Chinese Communist Party or studying in critical fields. State Department will also revise visa criteria to enhance scrutiny of all future visa applications from the People's Republic of China and Hong Kong. What's remarkable about this is that we were already allowing student visas in this country for anyone with direct ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Mercy, what more do we need to know about the Chinese Communist Party to know that they are not our friends? They spy on us. They actively and aggressively have been spying on us and engaging in cyber crimes against us. So why do we reward the oligarchs in positions of power in that party by allowing their students to come here, many of whom I'm sure are actively spying while they're here as students?
Look, Larry, I still can't believe that we've allowed this to go on and on, that there was no review, no real process in terms of identifying Chinese students who would possibly connected to the Chinese Communist Party, where they're taking back, our intelligence, basically. A lot of these students end up in the engineering fields, in nuclear science, and just going back to their country to obviously benefit the communists. And then you have our own American students who can't even get into many of these elite universities, who are rejected despite the fact of having perfect scores, et cetera. And the reality is because a lot of these universities make so much money off the international students. So in particular, I do think that this is a critical move by the Department of State to review these student visas, to revoke some of these student visas, and also check, for example, if they're associated with any terrorist organizations or if they're coming from countries that are harmful to the U.S. It is a privilege to be here if you're on a student visa. It is not a right, and you shouldn't be basically protesting against America, against our ally Israel here in the U.S.
We mentioned yesterday that over 60% of the students at the Kennedy School for Government at Harvard, right, 60% are international students. Maybe this is just a quaint, naive notion, but maybe, just maybe, we should enroll all of the American-born citizens who are qualified and capable and meet the academic and other criteria for these schools first. Fill in all the slots. And then if you've got empty slots, then you can fill them with international students.
Yeah.
But even still, if you fill them with international students, maybe not fill them with international students who have links to foreign governments who are our adversaries and enemies abroad. But maybe we should just ally them with our allies. It's ridiculous. But this will be blocked. This will be fought. People will be screaming about this.
Oh, there'll be legal cases around this. And so Senator Ashley Moody from Florida, she basically said, that how can we keep offering 300,000 think about that, 300,000 student visas to Chinese nationals every year when we know they are legally required to gather intelligence for the CCP. Stanford Review's report on CCP espionage on campus should shock everyone and verify what I have been saying. We need to pass my Stop CCP Visas Act to protect our national security. And this is not just in schools. This is also Chinese coming in and buying up farmland. This is Chinese buying up, parts of our corporations. It is a massive problem allowing this infiltration into this country.
Chinese nationals who are allowed to come to the United States either to do business or buy property, as you just mentioned, or as a student, they're only allowed here with the permission of the Communist Party in Beijing. And that permission is granted under the full knowledge that while they're here, they are agents of the Communist Party. If they are asked to do something for them, if they're asked to spy, if they're asked to relay information back, that's their duty as Chinese citizens, as subjects of the Chinese Communist Party. And we had 300,000? 300,000?
The size of
these students here?
like a small city. Seriously.
And how many of them overstay their welcome and then stay? Or how many of them marry an American citizen and then have anchor babies and they continue having their ties to the Chinese Communist Party? For God's sake, let's have some sanity back in this. Good move by Secretary Rubio and President Trump. It's 5:23. Coming up, a remarkable story. The death of the grandson of a president of the United States dating back to the pre-Civil War era. That's right. That's right. The 10th president of the United States grandson just passed away. And we're going to tell you this remarkable story in a moment.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
5:36. Let's keep rolling along here on O'Connor and Company. This last Thursday in May. Coming up at 6:35, Sarah Parshall-Perry of Defending Education. We'll talk about a new IRS complaint against Thomas Jefferson High School. At 7:35, Teresa Payton, she works with a cybersecurity firm. What happens when AI refuses to shut down? You know, when the humans tell the AI to stop and the AI says no. Apparently that's what happened. And we're going to talk about it. Also, this is like the beginning of some sort of science fiction movie. 8:05 brings us KT McFarland on all things national security. And then 8:35, Tom Rousey on the new Metro plan. You can pay as you go. That's all coming up. It's Larry O'Connor with Mercedes Schlapp. Good morning, Mercedes.
Hi, good morning. You were. Can I just say real quick, one of the things that we didn't mention is on Harvard University. Harvard's Kennedy School would lose 60% of its students under this international ban on international enrollment. That is crazy numbers. That's like the School of Government.
I know. 60% of the John F. Kennedy School of Government is populated by foreign students. Yeah,
it's crazy. Remarkable. Sorry,
what do you know about?
Didn't mean to distract.
No, it's fine. It's fine. You're a constant distraction to me, Mercedes. It's part of the fun
that
when
is
you're
true.
What do you know about President John Tyler?
Not much. How about you?
1841 to 1845.
Nothing.
Yeah. You got nothing. He preceded Andrew Jackson, I believe. He only served one term. This was obviously post-American Revolution, but pre-Civil War. So he presided over the continuation of slavery.
He was a graduate of the College of he was a graduate of the College of William and Mary.
Sure,
and received
he was a proud Virginian, as so many of our presidents are.
Yeah.
He also died at the age of 96, which is a nice, ripe old age at that time.
Right.
And he had a child when he was quite old, actually. He had a child when he was, I'm looking at the age of when he had this. He had 15 children, by the way. He was married twice. And he had 7 with his second wife, who was 24 when they got married, by the way.
Right.
So he was in his 50s and 60s when he fathered the children, the second set of children he had with Julia Gardner Tyler, who was 24 years old when they got married. Did I mention she was 24 when he was in his 50s?
Wow, that sounds... Aren't you and Meredith about the same, like around like that, or not really? What? Why are you looking at me like that?
It's not quite.
Oh, okay.
That.
I couldn't remember. Sorry, I just was trying to think through. I couldn't remember.
We like to say that our marriage is very much like the Regency era. If you read any of the Pride and Prejudice or
yes.
Sense
are you
and
Mr.
Sensibility.
Darcy?
Yeah.
Mr. Darcy.
Mr. Darcy. Yes.
They always joke
You're
around that
growing
my
my
mother
sideburns
acts like Elizabeth Bennet's mom. Always trying to marry the daughters off.
Actually, that's true. And you've got 5 daughters, just like the.
I'm like, please, she's like the worst character. I don't want to be that crazy woman. You know?
All right, let's move back to President
sorry.
Tyler. President Tyler. So let's take it back to the early 19th century, as President Tyler now has his young hot wife Julia Gardner Tyler, and his last child, a daughter named Pearl, was born when he was 70 years old. Right. Pearl, this is all according to the University of Virginia's Miller Center, by the way, that specializes in presidential, especially Virginian presidents. So Tyler's 13th child, Leon, was born when his father was 63 years old. Leon Gardner Tyler served as president of William and Mary College, by the way. This is a very proud Virginia family. Was married twice. With his second wife, he sort of took after his dad. His second wife, Sue Ruffin Tyler, had two sons born in the 1920s. See, because we've already now bridged well into the 20th century.
Sure.
With this. Lyon Taylor, who was born when his dad was 63 years old, he had a child when he was in his 70s. That child was born in the 1920s, and one of those children, Harrison Ruffin Tyler, lived to the ripe old age of 96 years old, just like his grandfather.
Wow,
that's
fantastic.
Young man just died. So he was born to the son of President John Tyler, and he was living in Richmond, Virginia. His name is Harrison Ruffin Tyler, and he was the last living grandson of a president from the 19th century. Isn't that remarkable? Pre-Lincoln, pre-Civil War.
That is fascinating. So we were trying to figure out, what did Tyler do when he was president? He signed a tariff bill protecting northern manufacturers. There you go. It's all full circle.
Get a MAGA reference
it's
in
all
here.
Full circle. And he helped. Texas was annexed in 1845.
Well,
so that's kind of the line there. With,
so let's think this through for a
President
minute.
Tyler.
If Trump has a baby right now,
okay, that would
be
more Elon Musk than Trump, but sure. Melania would be like, no, Donald, I'm too old. No, I know I'm gorgeous, but I'm too old.
That baby grows up and has a baby. If you like, just play it forward here. That would be like Donald Trump's grandchild would still be alive in the year 2225.
22. Oh, yeah. That'd be amazing.
That's wild to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, it is insane.
And it's only three generations.
I'm seeing this post on X saying Grover Cleveland is now the earliest serving U.S. president with a living grandchild. His grandson, George Cleveland, was born in 1952. So kind of fascinating. So it's just, you
immediately move all the way. So, yeah, John Tyler, who served in the 1840s, was the last president to have a living grandson. Now you fast forward all the way up to Grover Cleveland, who did still serve in the 19th century. He served from 1885 to 1889. Again, one term. I think when you're a president, you only serve one term. You got time to have a lot of kids. You got what else are you going to do? So I mean, well, Joe Biden had one term, and maybe Joe could have a baby.
Out of time. Oh,
there you go.
No,
I'm just saying.
Please. We don't need any more Bidens. Sorry.
It's 5:44.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 till 9 on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Well, if you are outraged by federal court blocking initiatives and executive orders from President Trump, then you're not going to want to hear this next story, as we have two outrageous moves by federal district courts. The first one has to do with canceling the Trump's order ending Joe Biden and the Biden-era immigrant parole program. Now, the parole program was originally set up by the Congress so that through discretion, Border Patrol agents could, at any given moment, allow for temporary parole for somebody at the border who needed to cross in immediately. Oftentimes it was envisioned somebody needs medical attention, giving a baby, what have you. Biden decided to expand the parole program basically for up to $30,000 a month, I believe it was. Most of the people who came in here from Venezuela, for instance, were brought in via the parole program. And in fact, in some cases, we actually flew them on our American taxpayer funded jets out of Venezuela and into America. So Biden institutes it through executive action. Trump comes in. He rescinds it via executive action. But, of course, now we have a circuit judge stopping and blocking Trump from doing it. So explain that to me. If a president can institute it and it's constitutional and fine, why can't the next president rescind it and have it be constitutional and fine? Mercedes?
Well, because the judge is from Boston. So there you go.
Yeah.
This is what happens. They come, a lot of these rulings are coming from these districts that are mostly liberal activists. And it's very problematic, but you're absolutely right. This is Biden going in one direction, ending, basically doing this parole program, which brought in, I would say, hundreds of thousands of individuals, if not millions, into this country. And then you've got Trump saying we're going to move in a different direction. And this is the constant tension between what we're seeing with the executive branch and the judiciary, in terms of the judiciary almost serving as a super legislature where they are deciding what the laws are. And that is what's so disturbing about this process, especially when immigration really falls, a lot of it, in the executive branch,
of course,
in terms of what the president can and cannot do.
Again, because we know that because Biden went ahead and did all of these things via executive action unilaterally and ruined the country with the open borders. And now we elected a president specifically that he said, here's what I'll do if you elect me. People said, great, do that. We vote for him. He gets in there, he does that, and 1, 2, 3 judges stop him. And here's the other one. Another thing that you would think would be under the executive authority, imposing tariffs on foreign countries for national security or economic purposes. Trade falls under the purview of the executive branch. Federal court strikes down Trump's April 2nd tariffs. He's in the middle of negotiating right now with foreign nations over tariffs and international trade, and a 3-judge panel comes in and stands in the way of the executive doing what the executive is supposed to do. And I want to remind you, because our friend Deborah Heine over at American Greatness, a friend of the show, Liz Sheld, pointed this out to me earlier this morning. They knew about this in early May, that the fix was in to stop these tariffs. The New York Trade Court, the 3 judges who were chosen to be on this panel were chosen by Chief Judge of the United States Court of International Trade, Mark Barnett. He joined the court in 2013 after a nomination by Barack Obama. And according to a well-placed source on that court at the time, this was written on May 15th, rather than drawing the panel at random, as a chief judge usually does, he fixed the outcome by hand-selecting 3 judges he knew would override President Trump's tariffs.
I got to tell you, this is purely insane. I mean, when you're thinking about the unanimous ruling that they're saying that these retaliatory tariffs are, what do they call them? They call them, they exceed they're basically like going beyond what they should be able to do. It's just outrageous. The president is the one that has to negotiate these tariffs with these countries. If not, that he will have no power, no leverage to bring them to the negotiating table. I mean, it's insane. Of course, that this is impacting. This impacts the businesses, it impacts our industries. It's horrific, but the Justice Department is quickly filing an appeal. So this is going to end up in the Supreme Court.
It's just, it's insanity. It's like, what's the point of that? This is why the American people get frustrated. They get angry and they want to take to the streets because you have an election, you elect the president to do things, he does them, and then these nameless, faceless, either bureaucrats or judges in robes nobody voted for, they decide that they know better than the American people. It's 5:53.